Some of the games we look at and reviews on the run are intended for a mature audience. Please pay attention to each game's ESRB rating. The first game we're going to talk about today is Fight Night Round 2. This is the 2005 edition of this burgeoning franchise from EA Sports. What do you think of Fight Night Round 2?
Yeah, you know, there was some parts of Fight Night that I really enjoyed and thought they, made a real step forward in the whole boxing genre.
Yep.
And then there were other things that I kind of hated, so it was like, it kept going back and forth for me. It's like I wanted to really love it, and then something bad would happen.
This is a boxing game with a ton of depth, because most of the boxing games we play, like the Rockies and the Mike Tysons and the Punch-Out, they're very arcadey, they're very accessible.
Right. I think that's what holds this game back. I mean, the reality is that I think it all comes down to the actual boxing itself.
It's the total punch control. It's that dual analog thumbstick thing that they've got going on.
Which total suck control. I mean, it
doesn't suck. Come on.
It takes a lot of getting used to. And the problem is that you never actually do get used to it.
I disagree.
Why is it done like that?
I disagree. I think it takes some serious time to get into it.
Diagonal on the analog stick? I'm sorry, that's very hard to do.
It is very hard to do. One of the
do.
things that they've added this time is you can actually adjust the power of your uppercuts and hooks and things like that by doing these swivelly, weird diagonal rotation kind of moves on your analog stick.
Which is very hard to do.
It is tough, but it's nice that you can adjust that kind of stuff.
No, actually, it's nice that you can change the controls in the option screen. That's what's nice.
You're really fixated on the button kind of controls.
Well, I'm fixated on the controls to a boxing game. Jeez, imagine that.
But they did add the fact that you can now move and punch at the same time, and it is a little bit easier to do the dodging and weaving. One
of the things I do love, though, is they give you that whole close-up, rocky vibe, and it slows down the audio and everything, and it does all the different angles,
very cinematic,
close up and
they
stuff like
collect
that.
all of the instant replay sort of moments, the highlight moments, and they show those at the end of every round.
Now we got online play, which is decent
awesome.
this year.
Yep, totally.
One thing I noticed is that the game overall is a little slow, compared to the Rockies and all the other things out there.
It's not an arcade experience.
It's a slower experience, and again, I want to get in there and
Come on, didn't you love the Cutman and the guy?
That's great. In the corner, for the first time ever, I've always wanted this in a boxing game.
It's awesome, and the graphics are unbelievable. And that's the other thing about
the graphics are dark. They were definitely good, though, you know. But they still got to get the weird physics. It's better than last year's.
They're definitely,
They adjust, but still,
getting better.
When the guy kind of goes down, it's like really weird.
It's like when your action figures lose all of their sort of joint coordination.
The best part about the Fight Night series is when you do get knocked down, it's not about tapping a button like crazy.
No.
You have to focus the analog sticks into the thing, and depending on how hard you got knocked down and all that, it's harder to focus them in. Now, the other thing they added this year was, finally in a boxing game, a play-by-play commentary. Now, in regards to that, though, it's not really like two or three guys talking about a fight like normally. And this guy really seems like he's kind of reading off the script. I want him to record the thing where it's the real guys and they're watching the game just like they would be commentating a fight.
You want EA to send two guys with every game to your house and sit beside you while you're playing and do the commentary.
I want EA to give me the same level of detail as they do in FIFA, which is perfect.
They've got all kinds of legendary fighters in the game. You got your Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, Roy Jones Jr.,
Jake LaMotta, the Raging Bull.
He looks great in the game.
You never knocked me down, Ray. You never knocked me down.
Pretty good. I'm going to give Fight Night Round 2 8.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 7.5. I still think there's a lot of room for improvement.
On the positive side, there's more mobility when you're throwing those punches now. The graphics are phenomenal, especially some of those slow-mo knockdown animations. And this time, we have online play, unlike Rocky Legends.
On the negative side, the gameplay is a little slower overall than some of the action arcade boxing games out there. The total punch control system, although kind of neat, is kind of difficult to get into. And although it was nice to see the play-by-play commentary this year, overall, I thought it could have been better.
I have been playing Zookeeper on my DS, and I gotta say, this is very familiar to me. It feels a lot like Bejeweled, which is one of my favorite PDA games. I actually have Bejeweled on my phone, and I play that all the time. And this is kind of similar. You've got a bunch of different blocks, and in this case, they're all little animal blocks. So you've got like a panda block, or an elephant, or a little giraffe, and you line up the different characters, and then the blocks disappear. So basically all the blocks start falling down, and what you can do is as the blocks start disappearing is you create combos and you get higher scores and stuff like that, and you work your way through. There's a 2-player mode in here that you can play off of 1 cartridge, which is kind of nice. It's cute, it's colorful. The music and sound effects annoyed the hell out of me, so I turned those down right away. But it's one of those kind of puzzle games that you start playing and you get addicted to it and you can't stop. So I thought Zookeeper was fun. It definitely reminded me of Bejeweled, which I love. I do think it's not a very overwhelming DS game, though. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Stick around, we're going to Jupiter next. It's right up there.
All right, now here's a really fun and funny game that kind of missed the radar. This is Armed and Dangerous. Now, Armed and Dangerous was done by Planet Moon Studios, which were some of the guys who worked on MDK and Earthworm Jim before that. So there's lots of funny comedy in this game. I mean, I just like shooting penguins. I think it's freaking hilarious. But anyway, the voiceover work and characters in this game were really well done, really thought out. Now this is more of like a really kind of like third-person shooter experience, which, you know, you don't see too many of these around, but it was actually really funny. There was people, you know, who would hide out in houses, and you had all these great weapons that they created. They had this like shark gun thing when you shot it, it would like go under the ground with the fin and everything and go get people. Or there's this topsy-turvy weapon as well, which turned the whole world upside down and everyone would come like crashing on their heads. Really, really unique stuff. I'm talking about Armed and Dangerous.
Okay, we're back. We're going to talk about Nexus, the Jupiter incident for the PC. Now, what'd you think of this one? This one screamed, Tommy's going to love it.
I mean, I'm sorry. You know,
No?
I could sit here and talk about how impressive this was. Maybe some people will enjoy this game. And you know what? For all those
I liked
freaks,
it.
for all the people,
Don't point at me when you say freaks.
I'm not saying that people who like the game are wrong. I'm just saying for all the normal people out there who actually try to find entertainment in playing a game,
Such an ass.
you are going to absolutely hate this game like I did. It is the slowest, most boringest,
It is slow.
dumbest game.
Most boringest and dumbest. Didn't you like the cutscenes that set up the mood for the whole thing? I thought they were brilliant, man.
Oh my God!
It's
almost as slow as the freaking game itself.
I thought it was beautifully handled. It's
beautifully handled.
Absolutely. It starts off with the
Stupid
international
storyline.
Would you let me finish and
Go
say
ahead.
something, you
Go
loudmouth?
Go ahead.
It starts with
tell
the
everyone how
international.
boring it is.
It starts with the International Space Station and then advances for 100 years, and it gives you a sense that this is actually possible. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really well handled. The graphics are great in the cutscenes.
The graphics are great.
And then it flows right into the story of the game, and I thought it was awesome.
Like frozen mud in Alaska is what it flows like.
You play a character that gets frozen in space, and then he gets thawed out in this new sort of galaxy that's out there. It's 2112. But it feels rooted in a sense of reality. I like the...
Tell them what you do in the game.
Well, what you do is you command a bunch of giant sort of capital ships. You also have control of...
well, you don't have much control at all.
Yes, you do. You have control of the ship. You can add the different weapon loadouts. You can decide how much energy you want to put into your engines or into your arms.
When
or
you guys
into your
want to know what the game's
shields.
really like,
and
let me
you
know.
can fly around. You go on different missions. You can send out Marines. You can send out a bunch of little tiny fighter ships to take on the other guys. It's kind of like Homeworld meets Free Space, which are two of my favorite outer space shooting type games. So what you do is you take your giant capital ship out and you get into battles with other big ships that are out there. And it's all about trying to outmaneuver and
Sounds great on paper, doesn't it?
the other guys. And one of the things that I really liked about this too is that as you progress through the story, you actually get to commandeer alien spaceships, and they have a whole bunch of different types of technology, and it feels different when you're flying around in them. They're a lot more powerful. You can sort of warp around and zip around a lot faster than you can in the Earth-based stuff.
See, I found that they weren't, though. I thought they were very slow, and it's like you build up your ship, you build it, keep building it up, and it's still slow.
Oh, come on.
It's still slow.
They're big ships. They're not going to move around like little tiny fighter ships.
It is so boring. What you do is, when you send your ship somewhere, you just sit there and wait. And then guess what? You don't actually control your ship and steer it around. No, you actually just kind of send it someplace and wait and sit there and wait.
It's got a bit of a strategic
thing. And then guess what? When you finally actually do encounter another ship, It's not about hitting the fire button and trying. No,
it's not one of those
about
games,
taking
Tommy.
these
It's not
games.
a, it's not
I know,
a
that's what
space
I'm trying to
shooter.
say.
It's not a joystick arcade
right.
game.
It's not fun.
This is not.
It's stupid.
I'll break it to you.
It's like reading an encyclopedia.
It's not Star
is what
Wars
it
the
is.
arcade
it's
game.
It's like reading a dictionary backwards.
Yeah, it's got a lot of depth.
It's ridiculous.
So what are you going to give Nexus the Jupiter incident?
Deuce.
2 out of 10.
Yeah.
That sounds like your homeworld score. I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
Sounds like your homeworld score.
All right. On the positive side, Nexus the Jupiter incident has a very cool cinematic storyline, great voiceovers in the game, and there is a ton of depth to this space sim shooter.
On a negative side, because of the slow storyline, slow gameplay, and slow space battles, I think this one's only going to appeal to a small audience.
All right, don't go away. I'm going to go teach this guy how to read an instruction manual. We'll be right back with a review of Musashi Samurai Legend.
It'll take them about a month because it's that thick.
I don't know what it is about EA Sports Big on the PSP, but it's a match made in heaven. I love NFL Street 2 Unleashed, and I'm really digging NBA Street Showdown. You can't do all those awesome freestyle moves that you can do in the console games, but actually what they've done is they've put a lot of those kinds of maneuvers right under the buttons and combos and stuff like that that you can do with the turbo and the different buttons on the face of the PSP. Graphics are sensational. 15 different courts to unlock in there. I think they even have this court. I'm not sure. But they got all kinds from Chicago, New York, to Cage and Greenwich Village, all kinds of great EA Sports tracks that will power down the battery a little bit. This is a terrific handheld game. You can, of course, create your own characters, outfit them in all kinds of stuff that you can unlock. The rewards are plentiful. The graphics are great. The sound effects are great. The control is very, very tight. Sensational game. 9 out of 10 for NBA Street Showdown on the PSP. Way to go, EA Big. Okay, we've had some boxing action. We've gone to outer space. I guess it's time for some samurai action.
I mean, what would the show be without samurais? And
Yeah,
every
you're right.
week it seems to be the in thing. By the way, you have flakes in your hair?
No, that's
but they're-
supposed to be there.
But they're not snow.
Okay. This is Musashi Samurai Legends,
Yes.
and it's from Square for the PS2. What'd you think of Musashi Samurai Legends?
I gotta, right up front, I gotta address the thing that bugged me the most about this game, which was the audio.
Right.
You've heard me complain a million times about the one footstep sound, but now they've actually stepped up to the plate. Now we have 2 footstep sound, which by
They're
the way
making
is
improvements.
just as annoying.
They're making improvements.
And this dude sounds like he's wearing high heels. I don't know what he's doing after hours.
The game's an action RPG, so there's going to be a lot of hacking and slashing, but there's also quite a bit of sort of story development as you go along. You're out chasing these elemental swords. I think we've seen that before in a few video games.
That's new
Yeah, all right.
concept.
And you're saving all kinds of people, and you hit these sort of blue egg things, and they're
people pop
and
out.
People pop
And
out.
then
of
they
them.
disappear.
And well, sometimes you got to carry the people, which I actually kind of like. You have to actually carry them back to safety.
And some of them you can actually carry and use as weapons.
You
which I
can,
find
you can hit people with the people,
Right.
or you can throw them up in the air,
It's always
slash,
fun.
and catch them. One of the things that I liked in the Musashi storyline too is that you're going up against the Gandrake Corporation, and you're dealing with Gandrake and all of his board of directors. So it's all like you're taking on
corporate America.
this very corporate sort of enemy, bad guy kind of thing. I thought that was pretty funny.
Now the graphics I thought were kind of interesting. It's got that whole kind of cartoony, bright, colorful,
Cell-shaded look.
anime, cell-shaded kind of look, which
Yep.
was interesting. Dude's got an issue with his hair
Oh,
though.
it's incredible.
He's got like this gel thing going on.
It's like curly,
which is
zippy,
just
pointy, zappy.
crazy.
And actually in the sort of the HQ, it's cool. It's a base that's on top of a giant flying whale.
It's got some cool things you can do. You have a little motorcycle you can ride around.
Yeah, and
with.
later on you get a little flying vehicle
Yeah,
too.
and the controls aren't
No,
great.
it's pretty weak.
You know, it does get repetitive.
Oh yeah.
I find, you
Absolutely.
know, I mean, that's the
Regenerating
only-
bad guys.
That's one of the downers of this puppy.
One of the best parts about this game, the thing that I enjoyed the most was the fact that you can actually learn combos and attacks by the attacks of your enemies. So you
Right.
press the right button at the right time.
Man, that was hard to pull off.
It is.
I would always get hit and die because it was too hard. Like it should have been one button and you could replicate.
No, but then it's
it, you know?
then it's not as rewarding. I'm going to give Musashi Samurai Legends 7.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 7.
On the positive side, it's pretty cool that Musashi learns new combos from his enemies. The cutesy, cel-shaded, cartoony, anime-styled artwork is very nice to look at. And carrying people and all of the twin-bladed and jumping kind of controls that you have to contend with in the game are all very enjoyable.
On the negative side, this game does get repetitive quickly. way too many regenerating bad guys. And there's definitely some audio issues going on here, from the horrible voiceovers to the 2 footstep sounds.
We have something a little bit different here in hardware today. We've got this product called the D-Skin. It's like a condom for your CD.
You stole my line! That's exactly what I was going to describe it as.
That's what it is. The D-Skins themselves, they're just clear plastic, and they have like a little orange band around them, and they snap right on. They're really easy to peel off. They stick right to the disc, so you're not going to worry about them slipping. Of course, everything plays just fine. The lasers on your different disk drive things, they're not going to like see this.
Reflect off it and explode your machine. That doesn't happen. Here's the thing. I could see you using this maybe for some of your music and CDs and stuff. You know, you're only paying 10, 15 bucks for. But you know, when you pay like 30, 40, 50 $50 for a video game.
You better be treating it right.
Yeah, it's not like a CD where you're throwing it in your back seat or whatever.
Right.
It's either in the case or it's in the game system, and I just can't see.
But you know what? There's a lot of gamers out there and lots of people out there that abuse their stuff.
Those people who are just throwing stuff around like that will never in a million years take the time to go out buy one of these and put it on. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just slobs to begin with, you know?
The actual price on the D-Skins is not too bad. So you going to recommend the D-Skins?
What are you going to say?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to recommend it. I think there's an audience out there for this stuff.
I don't know. I'm going to say no just because you said yes then.
Okay. On the positive side, the D-Skins don't cost very much. They work exactly the way they say they're supposed to. And if you're living somewhere where your discs get shared with a lot of people, this will be the perfect thing to keep them from getting scratched.
On the negative side, it just doesn't feel as good. It might only be 99.3% effective, and it's really embarrassing when you walk up to the counter and you got to pay for these things.
Are you talking about condoms or the D-Skins?
Oh, make sure when you're video gaming, you got to wear your raincoat.
You love this whole condom thing, don't you? You're on this theme where it's like
it's for her pleasure too.
Games. Number 1 is Crimson Skies: High Road to Revenge. Number 2, Secret Weapons over Normandy. Number 3, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. Number 4, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike. And number 5, Panzer Dragoon Orta. All right, today on Versus, we're going to take a look at a couple of action platformers that may have been forgotten. We're looking at TAC 2, The Staff of Dreams, against Ty, the Tasmanian Tiger 2, Bush Rescue.
Oh, hold on. No, Staff against the Bush?
Yes, that's the way it's working out. All right, so let's talk about the graphics for these two games.
I got to say that TAC 2 really impressed me.
Very good looking
I
game.
was really getting a whole Beyond Good and Evil vibe when I was playing this game.
It definitely feels like an animated sort of undertaking.
Beautiful.
I mean, I love the cutscenes, man. Unbelievable cutscenes.
Not only the cutscenes, but the characters they created are actually really interesting. Now, Ty 2, there's nothing cuter than little cute, cuddly koala bear policemen.
Incredibly cute characters
wielding
all the way
guns and blowing people up.
That's the weird thing about Ty 2 is that it's this odd mixture of cartoons and like really violent mechs and technology. And there's lots of firepower. I love the boomerang effects that Ty has. You can actually drive around and see different parts of the world. There's like the haunted area and stuff like that. It's a nice kind of collection of visual styles, but then it throws in the whole Aussie kind of...
Aussie?
I don't think there's really any kind of doubt in my mind, though. TAC 2 is a better looking game.
Yeah, it is a better looking game for sure.
How do you think the audio compared in these two games?
Well, I think that voiceover plays an important role in both the storytelling in these games. Very important part of both
come on,
games.
the VO in TAC 2
was hilarious.
I mean, it's a Nickelodeon license, so they got access to some real actors.
You've been asleep for 16 days. So? Does that mean crazy people can come and shove their moist, stinking pit in my face?
Yep, sure does. And that's not all.
Now, the Thai voices, they're all Australian.
Well, they're Australian. Good day, mate.
Good day.
Crikey.
Crikey.
You get a
crocodile over there.
You get a lot of that action going on.
Although not nearly as bad as that.
But one of the cool things was the music in Thai, too, because they have that whole Australian didgeridoo thing going.
Didgeridoo. I knew there'd be a didgeridoo. Yes.
I think the music was a little more authentic and memorable in Thai 2, but overall, I think audio, because of the voices and the script writing,
TAC 2.
TAC 2 by a nudge.
Okay, let's talk about gameplay now. How did these two compare?
You know, the great thing about TAC2 is it had a ton of like these really cool and interesting puzzles. I mean, I thought it was a very well thought out and designed game. It
Yep.
never got repetitive. It was always
It
interesting.
gets a little repetitive
I
in
always-
terms of what you're looking at. Like, it's
I always
always
knew
the
what I was
forest world.
doing. I always knew what I was doing and where I was supposed to be going.
Yeah.
They even have a squirrel in there that throws his nuts at you. Now,
Yes.
any game that, you know, where there's nut throwing by squirrels is going to be okay in
Yep.
my book.
Very angry squirrels.
And the whole thing about TAC2 is you're part of the poo-poo noo-noo people.
Yes.
Can you say that with me?
Poo-poo noo-noo people.
I mean, isn't that a
And he's
great
got the
word?
power of the juju, so it's... There's some
Power
pretty-
to jujus with the poo-poo noo-noo people. I mean, we're talking gold here.
Now, one thing that kind of bothered me about both of these games is that sometimes when you're in the heat of battle and you're taking on a whole bunch of enemies at the same time, you don't know what the hell's going on in either one. There's like too many explosions and weird things happening in Thai and in Attack. You just get the sense of the, you know, he's got his bolo out or he's hitting people with his stick or something like that, and you can't really see everything in detail. So overall, what did you like better?
I got to go with TAC2.
TAC 2 for me as well. What are you going to give TAC 2, the Staff of Dreams?
That's getting an 8.5.
I'm going to give that one an 8. What are you going to give the Tasmanian Tiger 2 Bush Rescue?
Huh?
That's the whole title.
8.
7.5.
So there you go, TAC2 gets the nudge, and I gotta say that it's an amazing game, reminds me of Beyond Good and Evil, definite instant buried treasure. Check out TAC2.
It was a great surprise. Today on the show, we took a look at Fight Night Round 2. We love the interactive Cutman sequences in this sequel, but EA still needs to refine the balance between fun and simulation. Nexus, the Jupiter Incident. This game features very impressive visuals and a rich storyline, but it's hampered by some slow gameplay. It drove Tommy nuts. Musashi, Samurai Legend. This was a surprisingly fresh samurai game with a cool cartoon charm, but the regenerating baddies really got annoying after a while. In Versus, it was TAC 2, the Staff of Dreams, which features gorgeous graphics and a very good sense of humor, against Ty, the Tasmanian Tiger 2, Bush Rescue. Now that's a long title, but it also has a lot of variety in the gameplay. Both of these games are really great, but Tommy and I preferred TAC 2.
I mean, that's just
Yeah,
great
yeah.
news.
No, there's
I
some-
feel like eating
some
one
good
of
stuff.
those.
I
Doesn't
did
that feel
find-
like something you'd want to eat?
No.
A juju poo-poo noo-noo
No,
people?
no, no.
You don't want to poo-poo on a noo-noo people?
No.